You see, there are a few things that makes people know that you come from such a place or such a country. It's not only your name or your color, but the things that you hold dear. And even within Europe, there are certain traits that when a Caucasian, a white person demonstrates, they within a particular country, let's say Australia, can tell you which part of Australia the fellow might come from or is coming from. That's how it is. And ask yourself, how come when a typical American enters Saudi, if they want to drink, they drink in their hotel and not outside? How come a typical American wouldn't question the Saudis why, instead of using a court like we have here, they use a court with Sharia, where people can be flogged and all that? It's because the Saudis have told them, this is who we are. We should, with pride, also say that this is who we are. And look, I tell people, don't be mistaken. Those who hold these LGBT whatever dear, they wouldn't stop at making efforts to make you change your ways to come their way. And that is what people must be conscious of. So you need to be conscious of that fact and take steps to guard and protect your turf. And whether we like it or not, it's part of our identity that over here, this is what we believe in. Like someone said, and I've heard some just say it, if you go to the UK, polygamy is not sanctioned, it's not allowed. But when you enter a typical African setting, once you see a man with multiple wives or whatever, it reminds you straight away that you are out of Europe. You have entered Africa. So these are matters that need a lot of courage to do, and I commend him. It's not easy. I see people coming at him and all that, but he's doing God's work. He's doing God's work.
Thanks, Anyami. And Randy, you see, on this issue, I've tried very much, and with your permission, I will send the video to you and your production, so that before the end of the day of the show, if you approve it, they can show it. It's just about 4 minutes. People say, why are we worrying people's private decisions? It doesn't affect us. In that video, it's by the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir. And in the video, they are singing, it's a song they've done. They say, we are coming for your children. We're going to change them. No matter what you do, we will change their way of lives. So that video, if you play it, it will awaken the sensitivities of people to realize that that community is not about people's private proclivities. It's about a grand agenda to change who we are and our way of life.
It's an invasion.
It's an invasion. And you see, like Okoe pointed out, you go to every other country. Look, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, are all opening up for tourism. However, their cultural identity has not been changed. So you cannot go drinking publicly even in Dubai. And even when you want to buy alcohol, it's extremely expensive as a prohibitive measure. How come the US ambassador in Saudi Arabia did not fly the gay pride flag as they were asked to fly in June? But they thought it was right to fly here in Ghana. Why has the ambassador there not fought against the ban on wearing miniskirts? Miniskirts is an expression of dressing, and people should have the right to choose how they dress. But the Saudis say, no, you respect that. How come that two religious leaders whose religious, and these are Caucasians, white, in Canada, they run a religious sect that believes in multiple marriages. One is called Reverend Olmer. They've been jailed for 25 years for being polygamous. 25 years for being polygamous. Okay? And they think that it is okay because that's an expression of what Canadian society or European society believes in. And Randy, there's a misconception that Europe is for LGBTQ. That's not true. Out of the countries in Europe, the members of, in fact, the whole of Europe, only 18 countries have legalized homosexuality. Only 18 out of about 50 countries. Only 18. Poland is a member of the EU. Hungary is a member of the EU. They have passed legislation criminalizing homosexuality. So why are they not clamping down on them? I mean, we must as a country stand for something. We can't stand for nothing and be tossed around by the wind everywhere. And so for me, on this is not a political thing. I call on the leaders of all our political parties and our religious leaders and traditional leaders who have shown support for this cause to say that, look, This is a national cause. It's about our kids. Randy, you just need to watch the cartoons. This 1 year of homeschooling has made me spend a lot more time with my kids and watch the cartoons they watch. Almost every cartoon you can think about, SpongeBob SquarePants, all of them, they've introduced LGBTQ things in there. Where right now, our kids are being culturally sensitized to believe that it's okay for a man to be in love with a man and a girl to be in love with a girl. So it's a subtle thing. And like I said, I'll send you that video. If you watch it during the break and you think it meets your editorial policy, please for Ghanaians to see. It's the first time I'm going to be sharing it with any media house, because I want because this platform is big. I want Ghanaians to see that when they say the LGBTQ is just about people's private stuff, no. They have an agenda. They say they are coming for our children. I would protect my children by passing legislation that protects the cultural society. And there's this Arab-looking gentleman whose video has trended on TikTok, where he says, these are my children. I feed my children. I clothe my children. You can't come and socialize my children for me. I have a right, because I am their parent, to socialize them. And we all grew up. I'm a Christian today, largely because my parents socialized me in a church. There are people who are Muslims today because they were born into a Muslim home. They were socialized that way. Are we going to say that we're going to take away the right of parents to socialize their children? Scotland has passed legislation now saying that children as young as 4 should be allowed to come to school without the consent of a parent to change their sex. A 4-year-old can go to school in Scotland today and say, even though I'm a male, I now feel, because I've watched cartoons, I feel I'm a woman. So without their parents' consent, the school and the teachers would change his sex and make him female. This lunacy must not be allowed to come to Ghana.
All right. Andy, briefly, what I'll say is that, it's very, very important. As we speak now, the laws of this country doesn't allow for
absolutely
same-sex marriage. So we are not saying that people who exist legally should now be hunted for or be punished, or some people should go and beat them or anything. All you are saying is that our position must be clear, so that people don't try to, go on the route of a gray area and enter the system. When I see a man, and when I use man to stand for both sexes, as they do in the Bible, who is going the wrong way, I don't try to judge the person. I pray for the person, or I try to wish the person well to change their path. Now, one thing which is very, very important is that whether we like it or not, LGB up to the last letter, Randy, is not the way of the Lord. I say that without any shame. And we must take active steps to make sure that the generation after us don't go that way. And what people must understand is that there is the physical aspect of man, Randy, and there's the spiritual aspect. People can be very successful. I hear people say that, these guys are very successful. But having material wealth is not what the world is about, or being here on earth is about. There are greater values. And this is what must not be lost on the generation after us. And remember, our current situation is what was handed over to us by our ancestors. We have a duty to make sure that we pass the same culture, which is the culture that respects the values that were instituted in the beginning by God himself. There are many of these guys, when you say God, they ask you, what are you talking about? They don't even appreciate the existence. Randy. So, we claim in this country that majority are Christians. If you add Christians and Muslims, that's about 92-93% of all the people in this country. Islam, just like Christianity, there's not.
Even the traditional religions.
Even the traditional religion. Randy. So, these are matters that we should be clear about. It's not only about us, but it's about the next generation.